Show them how you get up in your bag. Show them that swag. What you see is what you get. When I look in the mirror, I'm looking like a man. Like we playing tag bad, I'm the top pick. Show them what you're working with. Break the circuit, be a hit. Go ahead and make them sit. If you gotta hate it, then your purpose is equipped. Tell them catch you later, cause you serving up some grits. Meaning hot with the drip when I drop in the mix. The proof is in the pudding. Show them how you do it. They do it like they shouldn't. You don't need to brag, cause your competition couldn't. You don't need to boast, cause the proof is in the pudding. Show them that swag. Show them that swag. Show them that swag. Show them that swag. Show them what you got. Show them how you get up in your bag. Show them that swag.
All right, who we got in the room today? Give us a shout out. Let us know you can see us, hear us, all the fun things. We're excited to do this presentation today. I think it's one of those things that, it's always good to have a refresher, always good to bring sales top of mind, especially coming off spring season, heading into fall season. Maybe you discover some new changes to your process, or maybe you establish like, hey, I need to create a process and this is how it should look. Or just, if you're looking to expand, like this is a great place to do it. And we're excited to share some tips and tricks with you today. And then hopefully motivate and inspire you to have a even bigger fall season than you imagined. So it's not too late to book some more jobs. Is that right, Nick?
100%. Do a little bit of summer planning and it will reap many, many benefits in the fall.
Yeah. And we'll get to the slide about how PhotoDay plays a role in this too, but we'll dive into the meat first. But first, everyone meet Nick. Nick's a PhotoDay user. He's been a PhotoDay user for a really long time.
2019 was when I did our onboarding.
2019? I did your onboarding. Did I do your onboarding? I think I did.
My onboarding. And yeah, I was very lucky.
Wow. That must have been right after we launched Capture app, right? For Private Gala. Because we didn't launch, we launched in 2018. We didn't have the Capture app.
Before Capture app existed.
No way.
It was before Capture app existed. I'll admit, it took me like a year plus between doing my onboarding and our first actual PhotoDay job because of we just had no idea what the hell we were doing, but I've been around for a while.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, we still text each other all the time ever since then. You were always full of great ideas and what we should add and what we should do differently, and really appreciate all of your input along the way, and also your help today in presenting. So it's always great to have, if I just talk about everything, it's kind of boring. You guys have to listen to me, but since Nick's here, he'll break it up and it'll be more exciting. So
definitely, we'll make it way more exciting. We can talk about sports, we can talk about schools, we can talk about booking, everything that you guys want.
Yes, all the things. So with that said, go ahead and give us, any questions, comments along the way. We want to make this interactive, so feel free to chime in. A lot of our team is here too to help moderate questions. So if we don't get to the questions fast enough, sometimes they're able to chime in or just raise it to our attention that, hey, there's a question in the chat, but this will be a back and forth with Nick and I as well. So we might get a little distracted talking about things and skip over the chat. So make sure you go ahead and throw everything you can over into the chat. So yeah, this is really great. All right, so let's just dive right in, because I think, if you're here today, you may not have a lead problem. Most studios don't, because you're in a local community, you're a small business, and people tend to be happy with their photos of their kids that you're creating. It's a fun product. It's something super fun to sell. I've been in this industry for a really, really long time. And I remember my first boss saying that to me, this is a fun job. We're selling photos and photo products of kids and milestone moments, whether they're playing sports, whether they're attending school. It's a fun job. It's a fun industry. It's fun. So it's not really a lead problem that you have. It's a sales process problem. So what do you do with all the leads, all the feedback, the seasonality of our business, when you can book a job, when you can actually schedule it? And typically every studio starts as a one-man show. So you're doing all the things from, from operations to the sales to the finance, like to the customer service, you're doing everything. So, it's a process problem. And when is the right time to start further defining that process so you can get to the next level and scale? So that's really what we're going to dive into today.
100%. Make a process out of everything, and then that way it's repeatable.
Yes. And it's okay to like fine tune your process along the way.
Oh, you can tweak it. You can tweak it if it's not working, but yeah.
Yeah, you're never going to get it right the first time. So don't, like, if you're letting that like perfectionist get in the way, like, you need to stop. Like, there's always room for improvement and growth along the way as you discover new things. So let's talk about what like a healthy sales engine looks like top down. So prospecting, obviously lots of prospects, but I think this is where a lot of people get hung up, is they think that every single prospect is going to turn in to that sale, right? You're going to close. And sales, you've heard it a bunch of times, it's a numbers game. So the more prospects you have, the more jobs you're going to close, the more accounts you're going to close, right? So, however, not every prospect might be a fit for your company. And that's where qualification comes in. So when you're building like a sales engine and you're doing all that lead sourcing, you have to figure out, who can I really service? And who is like your ICP? Who is your ideal customer that fits into your flow? And then qualify them according to your ICP, right? And that's when you do discovery, like who they're using now, what services do they get now from their current photographer? Do they even have a photographer? And you figure out all the things that they're doing today as much as you can before you do the proposal, right? So there's obviously emails, there's communication, there's all these back and forth along the way. But when you get to the point of doing the proposal, you want it to relate most to that individual, that person that you're selling to. You want to be a listener, because if you're just blasting them with emails, the same information to your wide net over and over and over again, it's not going to produce great results. You might get a couple that way, but that's not what a healthy sales engine looks like, right? So you really have to dive in and find those details and then make that proposal tailored to them, because that's going to help you with a better win rate. And then all the follow-up, all the things that go along with that, you'll be close winning. And then because you have such happy customers, they'll be sending you referrals and you'll retain them. So this is what this sales engine kind of looks like. Nick, do you have anything to add to that?
I would say this top three, the lighter purple ones, remove all emotion from it. Like, just be like, a lot of photographers and business owners get hung up on like that. Oh no, we're good. And they're like, why'd they hang up on me? And it's like, don't even worry about that. Take the emotion out of the top three of it. It is just figuring out where you're a fit at all.
Yeah. Definitely have to have that thick skin for sure, because it's not for everybody. You're right. Can't let the emotion get in the way. Not until you get down further into the process. And then when you're in the retention phase, you can let emotion get in the way.
Right, exactly. Like I said, the top three, just remove all emotion. As you get more into it, then it's very important to start make it a friend.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, pipeline basics, like, what does your pipeline look like? Well, first of all, like, I want to ask a question. Does anyone here have like a well-defined sales engine where you're doing this already? Or is everyone here like pretty much new to this process? Because that really helps me too, moving forward through the rest of this presentation on like what to focus on or what you want to hear more about. So feel free to shout that out in the chat, like, and then, we're going to get into like tools and like kind of like an overview, and hopefully you can use this webinar and reflect back on it as something that you really want to start building for yourself if it doesn't already exist this summer. So we'll get into pipeline basics. In the meantime, what does your pipeline actually look like, right? And this is just an example. Like, if you have 100 leads, how many of them have you qualified? How many proposals have gone out? How many have you booked? So this is just like what an ideal pipeline would look like. And then, of course, in that pipeline, those prospects become your opportunities. Once they're an opportunity, they might be in different stages. Like, you you qualified a prospect, you move them in the opportunity. This is somebody that you can go and book this job. You have the right tools. You can service this school, this league, whatever. And then what do you do next with it? Like, are you negotiating with them? Have you sent out materials? Have you scheduled a meeting with them yet? Those are all what could be defined as like stages. And then obviously when you book them, that is like the final stage. That's your close one stage. That's considered like how you measure your win rate. So I started with, 100 leads. I qualified and I created these 40 opportunities. And then I booked 10 from that. And then that was like, that's your win rate. That's how many you're going to win. And why this is important is because as you're scaling your studio, you need data you can measure. So you know where to spend your time on. I got to go get more prospects. I got to, beef up my qualification. I have to spend more time nurturing my opportunities to increase my close rate. Like, to really have a healthy sales engine, you have to like be measuring all of this stuff as well.
Exactly. It also, like, as the person was talking about tweaking things earlier, you can see as you go through the stages at what part people start dropping off. And that's important as you start reevaluating your sales stages.
Yeah. I think, Jody, what you said is important too. Like, you're starting to look at what your ideal schools are. So you're really defining like your ideal customer profile. And then that's your qualification, right? So now you have all these schools in your area, say you service schools in a 2-hour radius from your home. And what does your ICP look like? What is your ideal school like? And then you take all of those schools and you say, okay, maybe 40 of these 200 schools are my ideal customer, and I'm only going, and you've qualified them now, and now you're only going to market to them, which is how I would look at it. So you're not overwhelming yourself, because I think so many people get really overwhelmed in the process. They're like, I do all the things all the time. And really that's, part of sales is prioritizing where the best use of your time is spent for the maximum result for your studio. So that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Catherine said, best thing I ever did was hire somebody to handle my communication and bookings. Yep. That's awesome.
Yep.
Great at closing a deal when you find somebody great. Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. So prospecting that actually works. So Nick's got a ton of ideas to share here, which I was really excited about. Yeah, let's go down this list.
I'll tell you what we do for a couple of our different things that might be just some basic stuff. We do schools and sports. Schools is our primary business. Sports, though, is quickly catching up. So we do a lot of referrals based on knowing that we have teachers at the school that are also coaches and stuff. So we're evaluating all of our photo orders. Instead of like, we put the little thank you cards in the back of the orders, and it also says, hey, you could also book your league. And so all of those teachers know, oh yeah, well, we do our school photos with you guys, we should call you for sports. And so we get a lot of referrals that way. There's a lot of other things that we do as far as just making sure that we're adding value as much as possible. So with our schools, we have a lot of school support materials, we call it. So if they're doing a spaghetti dinner fundraiser, we'll make posters for that. If they're doing, hey, they need tickets for graduations to hand out, hey, we'll print those for them. And so that we're adding all this value to our things, which helps on retention, but we also use that as a sales pipeline. So people will come to our website, they'll be looking to get the free posters, and then they'll start using us for more and more things. And so as we are establishing that, like, hey, we're easy to deal with, hey, we're reliable on all of the free stuff, they can then trust us to be doing the photo accounts and all of that kind of stuff, which makes bringing that over a lot easier. And so that's how we're doing a lot of our kind of cold prospecting, or I should say, like, turning cold prospects into warm prospects. For the actual prospecting, like, we'll start with a big, 2,000 person, 3,000 person email list and narrow down from there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like, The email outreach, I think, is really good too. I mean, again, this is, you know, I want to like reiterate, because I see a lot of studios like over the years make this mistake where they think like email outreach from a cold prospect list or even a warm prospect list is a healthy sales process, right? Like, or a sales engine. There's steps that happen in between there. So don't let that discourage you, because you're going to have a lot more prospects overall than you will have like qualified, your
Oh yeah, you
qualified
could
customers
have
on
your
what you
email
can
list,
service.
and
Yeah.
10% of that initial email list is anything that you actually want to deal with. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, exactly. So it's
start
like,
with a big list and go down. And then once you're known in the community, or, that kind of stuff, you can really generate your referrals. Like, we started doing a lot of PTA vendor fairs, which has been very successful. We've been running, we just did a photo booth at them. And so people are actually getting photo day galleries of their photos from the PTA fair. So, hey, we work with this school. We're at their PTA fair. They're inviting other PTAs from other local schools over. We just get to establish, hey, well, these are fun photographers. Hey, they gave me a cool gallery. Hey, we got this picture for free. And then that way, when we go in for a sales call, they know who the hell we are.
yeah. Yeah. I think one thing I want to touch on here too is like the outreach cadence, right? Like, this is part of establishing a repeatable, scalable process. So make sure you have a cadence. It's like a discipline. It's something you hold yourself accountable for, especially if you are that salesperson. Like, you have all these prospects, then you do your outreach. And Nick was giving an example of how he turned some cold prospects into warm, using the PTA event. But like, you could do things like, the intro email, then you're doing the follow-up, then you're maybe sharing like a useful piece of information, or, whether that's openings on your calendar that you have for this fall, or whatever, that value is that you want to share, or what your give back is, or, anything like that, or fun products you're offering. And then you have like your final touch point. And so make sure you develop or really think about what that cadence looks like, according to like your business, your structure, what separates you from your competition, and put that into a cadence and hold yourself responsible that every single prospect goes through this same funnel. Every single one, you're doing the same thing, and it's repeatable every single time, because that's going to drive those leads all the way down your pipeline overall. So, and I think that is also really important. And then, of
Yeah.
course, like, I'm sorry, did you want to touch on something there?
It ties into this slide as well, so it's fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. We were rehearsing this before we started, and then we're like, okay, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the fortune is in the follow-up. I mean, this is how, it is all like, whether you're doing email, text, calls, video messages, calendar reminders, all your automated workflows, the secret sauce is do all of the things in all different ways. People like to be communicated with all different ways. Like, I'm got
Different
500
people like
and
different things. Who would have
yeah,
thought?
yes, I have thousands of unread emails and probably hundreds of missed calls on my phone, but I opened every single text message. So I'm one of those people that responds to text. I am. And, there's some people that need to clear every single missed call, and they listen to every single voicemail. And there's people that read every single email, or categorize that. I'm not one of those people. So if you're email marketing to me, it's going to fall on deaf ears. Like, I'm not going to read your emails at all. So like, as a prospect. So, but I am going to, but you just have to figure out what that is. And that's why you should do all the things. Like, so you should have an outreach for all of these different communication, because that's going to yield you the maximum result of who you're reaching out to.
Yeah. One of the things that I was going to mention with that sales funnel on your cadence for how often you're touching base with people, this follow-up is very important, even if you're getting no's initially. Like, you might be reaching out to a school and they're like, hey, we're very happy with our photographer. And you're like, and it'll sound like they never, ever want to change until they screw up something pivotal in the middle of the school year, a month after they told you no. So it's really important for you to not only follow up on things that are kind of in process or like in play, but follow up on the no's. Okay. Like, even if you're like, we're never going to crack this one, like, just make sure that they know you're not, like, you don't have to be pushy, but like, you want to establish that you are always there for them. Like, you are not going anywhere. You are a stable business in this community, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you get to the opportunity stage and you've created the opportunity and they're like, no, we're not interested this season, then move them backwards. They're still a lead. They're still warm. You made a touch point. They just said, no, not for now. Look for that opening. There's always a little crack. They open the door just a little bit for you and save it for later. Hard no's are like school shutting down. League's not going to be in business next year. Those are hard no's, right? Get them off your lead list. But I mean, those soft no's are no, not right now, or not at this time. You need to be able to stay in front of them. Don't erase them from memory forever. You keep going after them.
Mm-hmm.
I like Mark's comment here. 90% of his leads are from word of mouth coming through like contacts at the ballpark or community. That's great. Like, that's a great lead source right now. But like, imagine if you expanded your leads, where they come from. If you went and you did your own lead sourcing through AI, search engines or anything like that, and put even more leads in there. Like, it's a numbers game. Like, how many of those leads are you actually closing? And if you can go get more leads, can you close those too?
Yeah. Or the next town over's ballpark that doesn't know who you are. Like, go over there for a day and introduce yourself to everybody. Like, you can always generate more.
Yeah.
Like we got billions of people in this world.
All about the leads. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, it's your slide.
I know. I feel like I should have finished adding stuff to this. We're moving all of our sales stuff over, but this is the start of our new pipeline.
Oh, I love it. So yeah, key systems everybody needs, right? And we're not saying go out and get HubSpot or
do not pay for HubSpot. I'll say right now, don't pay for it. It's not worth your money.
Yeah. And I think like the important thing to note is like, if you don't have a well-defined sales engine, there's no point in going to get a CRM because it's not going to help you define the sales engine, right? You have to have the sales engine defined. You have to have the cadence. Everything we talked about before this slide, you have to have that well-defined and like in process first. Then you might not need a CRM because it might just be you. Like, CRMs are great for like expansion. And if you're hiring a sales team and, you got multiple people working multiple different things at the same time, like those are great, but sometimes they're overkill. And I think like a lot of us, we, especially new business owners in general, like we're constantly being marketed to. Everybody's in your inbox and are on LinkedIn trying to sell you the next best thing that's going to change your company. Like, you are a prospect. They are selling to you. You don't need all the things. So you need the engine first. You need to figure out what you're doing, who you're selling to, all those things first. If you find that, the Google Docs and, the manual way of doing things isn't working, if you're buried in the process itself because you need to automate it some more, then you go out and you get that software, but you don't do it first, because doing it first isn't going to magically make this process happen for you.
Also, a lot of people I've known many people that get sucked into working on the business and not actually doing the business. You can spend 40 hours setting up the perfect CRM, and during those 40 hours, you didn't call one fucking person. So, like, that's like, call somebody, get on the phone, get out there, and make a sales call.
Yeah, exactly. Process over, executing the process over implementing the software all day, every day. Software should complement an existing well-defined process. Mm-hmm. So, and then you know exactly what you need. But it's helpful to explore those solutions. There's like, a lot of these solutions, especially like HubSpot, they have like the HubSpot, was it HubSpot University or something like that, where you can learn.
Sign up for all their blogs. Sign up for the Salesforce blog and read all the details.
Yeah. I mean, some of it's inspiring, motivating. You don't have to have the software to get access to the free educational material that they provide that help you set it up, because they obviously eventually want you to buy their software. Mm-hmm. So yeah. But yeah, set yourself, use reminders a lot, like especially if you're designing this funnel. Internally, we use our team using a system called Sales Loft, so that helps them. They put their cadences in there, and that helps them stay ahead and where they're at in their individual cadences. You can do a lot of this now with like AI. I mean,
oh yeah, a lot of this. I mean, here's one of the things that you can do that is like you don't even have to like AI code anything. You can connect your AI to your calendar, or like if you're just using a straight up spreadsheet and you're like, cool, well, here's all the dates I need to follow up. You can just drag that spreadsheet into AI and say, hey, add all these dates to my calendar so I don't forget. And then it'll make calendar events for you.
yeah, super great.
It's easy.
I feel like it also makes me way more busier than I should be sometimes.
Well, don't get on a Claude API thing, or else you'll spend a lot of extra money on being busy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I've never had so many meetings booked in my entire life. So sales tools worth using, suggested categories as you build your process and scale. Obviously a CRM, any email automation tools, proposal tools like scheduling software, reporting dashboards, and then any PhotoDay integrations or workflows. Nick, can you tell us a little bit about like what you've built and like how you've done it?
We're working on building some stuff to not only do better on sales, but better on our tracking of existing accounts. Because what I want to know is, hey, these are our good accounts. These are our average accounts. These are our worst accounts or whatever, right? We were getting into a part of our calendar where we need to start losing stuff in order to fill all the premium dates. And we want to fill those premium dates with premium schools. And so what we're doing is doing a lot of sales analytics to know, okay, well, this school bought the most pictures. What made that school buy the most pictures? What are the schools that we don't have that are similar to the one that was the best? So that way, when we're prospecting, we know all of the ones that we really want to hit. Now, back in the day, you used to do real dumb things like find all the schools next to Trader Joe's. Like they're like literally you would look up a town you didn't know, you would find where Trader Joe's was, and then you would go to the neighborhood around that. But we're trying to be a little bit more sophisticated. And so we're really tracking all of our data over time. And you could get that. It's just like you could do a sales export from the PhotoDay Insights panel or the reports panel and get almost all of this data. And so you can start really tracking it. And then that way, when you go into schools, you can have like this little graphic down here towards the lower graphic is our little like school, personality report card. It'll say their address, it'll say who they are, who you talk to, and then you can start logging all your calls, log your follow-ups, log who you're talking to, and it'll give you some idea on what your expected sales are at those schools. So when you're calling them, you're like, okay, blah, 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 blah. And you kind of get an idea for what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a big game changer for sales next year.
And you built all this yourself.
Yes. I think on one thing, I asked Wayne to make me a special report. One thing. There's like one report I needed, and the PhotoDay team delivered. It was great.
Awesome. So good. Mm-hmm. All right. So what should you be tracking? Obviously all the leads you're generating. And this is like, if you don't track anything, you don't really hold yourself accountable, and you can't really tweak things to get better or improve, right? So tracking is really important. Mm-hmm. So always track your lead generated. You can track this by month, by season, by quarter, like what you have time to do, as an owner, like you define that depending on your side studio. Like mm-hmm. We like to track things on a monthly basis, but you can also track them weekly. Like it really depends on like your acceleration and like how you're planning and your expansion and the investment that you're making here in your company, in your business. Mm-hmm. Out of those leads, like, your response rate, like, that's kind of like, I have 100 leads, but only like 10 of them have responded to me. So response rate really tells us a lot about lead quality, or the quality of the leads that you're logging. The meetings booked from those responses, the proposal to close. Like, so obviously you spent time doing the discovery, learning things about that prospect, and you sent them a proposal. And then how many of those did you actually close? And then after that cycle, you're looking at the revenue per account, like, or per job, where you kind of, then you can see like, hey, like, where did this lead come from? What's their, profile? Like, what type of job is it? How much are they generating? And how long did it take me to generate that revenue? And those things play into like, hey, I'm going to double my sales for my studio next year, or I want to quit my full-time job and I need this amount of sales to do this, right? If
Yeah.
you're going to set those goals for yourself, it's so important to track these things. And they might sound overwhelming, but if you've never done it before, but highly suggest, like, this is where you need to start, especially if you're serious about owning and operating and expanding a full-time studio so.
Yeah, essentially, when you're goal setting, you're going to work backwards from that funnel. So you're going to be like, okay, well, we booked 5 new jobs this year. And then you're like, cool, well, from that 5 new jobs, we met with 10 people, and we sent out 200 emails or whatever. And so you're gonna work that funnel backwards to set all of your goals.
Yeah. Math. Gotta math it
It
backwards.
works both directions. It's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And I will even say here, like, measuring the revenue per account, like, it does help you. Like, if you're spending a lot of time on an account and they're consuming a lot of time, a lot of your resources and a lot of your energy, and they're not generating a whole lot of revenue for your studio, maybe it's time to fill all of that time with more proactive stuff for different accounts, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Nick?
I would say so. There's definitely some that are more there used to be a travel site called Hitmonk that would sort all of your flights by pain in the butt factor. And so you can get the cheapest flight, but you had like 3 different layovers kind of thing. And so there's a little bit of that. One of the things when you're comparing different leagues though and stuff, I would also really double check. In schools, we always go by enrollment, but I would also look at like league size, like number of players, all of that kind of stuff, because some of these things can vary greatly. Like we have a soccer league that has 2,400 kids, and we have a soccer league that has 300 kids. And so make sure as you're entering all of your data, you're not overestimating how good of a sale it is or underestimating what it is, because you're going to not just look at, oh, what's my average of soccer leagues, but my average of players, order amount per player in the soccer league. So when you're talking to somebody on the phone and they say, okay, well, our soccer league has 600 kids, you can be like, cool, 600 kids times $14 equals blah, blah, blah. And then you can have your expected sales for that.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. All right. So with all of that, we're going to get some more fun stuff. So when is it time to actually hire a sales rep? I think we get asked this question a lot. Like when we go to conferences and we're networking and we're trying to expand our studios, we're like, okay, the answer is like, I need to go hire a sales rep. I always like to say, take a few steps back and look. Do you have a sales engine? Do you have a sales process? Do you have prospects that a sales rep can work? Or are you having that sales rep do all of this for you? You might need a sales rep that's very like rev ops oriented, or if you already have sales reps, maybe you need a sales manager. So it's always like, what are the signs that you're ready to move into that next phase to figure out how to bring on help? And I think like as a business owner, that's or as a business that you're expanding, that is one of the most difficult things to do, is add more people to the business, right? And get the best use out of the time and work together as a team, get to know each other, all that stuff. So what are the signs that you look for? Like if you're generating a ton of leads and you don't have time to work those leads, it might be time to hire a sales rep, right? Because if you're doing all these other things, then you tend to gravitate there, because you need, operational stuff done. You are the key photographer for your business. You're the relationship management person, but not necessarily the salesperson, because you enjoy that more. Maybe that's what a salesperson can do for you, because you've got so many leads coming through. If you're at a revenue plateau, like if you've tried a lot of things and you're just not growing and you're kind of stagnant year over year, might be time to look at sales or rev ops as an example. If you have a repeatable process, something that you've already defined, it's definitely time. It's time. If you put a salesperson in and you tell them to do your repeat process, you train them to do all the things that you're doing, like you're only going to scale. You're only going to go one direction, which is up. So like it's a really good time to do it. If you're the owner, you're the bottleneck. You're in your own way because you're doing all the things, or you just feel totally overwhelmed. It's when a salesperson can come in and really help you. And of course, if you have no time for growth, or you have that consistent lead flow coming in and you're generating a ton. So, and then you need somebody to work those leads for you. So all that is signs you're ready to take that next step and expand and get a salesperson on board. Now, some mistakes that we see right away, and this happens, that studios make if you're the salesperson, is you're just waiting for your leads to happen. If you're not out there curating leads.
Lisa, can I say one thing about sales reps first? It is important that you know your numbers before you go to hire a sales rep, because what you're going to want to do is say, okay, well, I'm going to hire a sales rep. She's going to cost $70,000 a year, which means we need to sell, $250,000 worth of photos or whatever it is, something high. And so you're going to want to know all of those numbers so that you can give the right kind of, number of hours, that type of thing, to your sales rep when you start the hiring process.
Yeah, for sure. It's an important note. Thanks for adding that. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. And it just all circles back to like being able to measure, being able to track, like what's the effectiveness? What are you doing now with just you? Creating that process and say, if I can do this all over again and I have this person, I can afford to pay them, X amount of dollars. So signs that you're ready, like these are just some mistakes, like as you're scaling, that we see, like if you're not able to follow up, you didn't implement a CRM yet, you're selling, features instead of outcomes, you have inconsistent outreach, like you're not staying true to the sales funnel, the outreach that you've defined. You're sending quotes too early. You're just sending quotes out to all your prospects. You haven't qualified them yet. You need a little bit more process implemented there. And if you have zero retention strategy, if you're just assuming those leagues or those schools will come back year over year because you went to picture day, everything was great, you left, and you think they're fine. Well, there is a Nick Schub over there knocking on your lead door, right? So never assume.
Waiting for you.
Yes, never assume that you are, just because you service them one season, that you're going to get them again and again and again and again, just because you had a good experience, because somebody's out there, somebody's hungry for business. So you have to have that retention strategy in place, and you have to have that relationship with those decision makers. You have to know when they're getting ready to have new decision makers come on board, so you can get introduced to those new decision makers and be top of mind, because that's a common thing we see in this, especially in the league sports space, is those boards are constantly changing, and you've got to know when that's going to happen and mark that in your qualification. Like, when does the board make a decision? When do they appoint new boards? Mark those dates, because you need to be out in front on those dates to make sure you don't miss the boat.
Yeah. Also a lot of, like, once you're in the retention phase, like, you need to be a friend with all these people. And if you are being a true friend, you don't shoot picture day and then just wait 11 months till the month before the next picture day to ever say hi to them. Like, you need to go back and just check in and make sure that they're doing good, and like all of those kind of things that you would as if you were a friend.
Yeah. So I would say, if like you're, as a business owner, you're doing all the things, right? And if you're better at that relationship, if that's what makes you happy, if that's your core, like, I love running my company because I love the relationships that I build on top of that, and you're really good at retention, then hire a salesperson. If you're really good at selling but not great at retention, then hire somebody to help you with retention, right? Like if you're at that phase, like you started this
Oh,
business, you worked
100%. Life
hard,
Touch
do
has
what
them
you,
in two different roles.
yeah, do what you want to do as the business owner. You worked really hard to get here, so do the things that you're best at, that you have the most fun doing every day, and and hire for those things that you know that are not so fun. So for you, for sure.
Mhm.
All right, so we're going to discuss a couple of things here: referral incentives, things that you can think about implementing as you continue to expand. We were just talking about this, like I think something that's fun is like the people on the field, the photographers that you're sending out to do the shoots. Like if you have like a larger studio, like giving them some kind of bonus or incentives, like as they're out there and they're in front of the people, they're repping your company, give them a carrot, dangle a carrot that if they do refer somebody, if they are on the lookout for it, they have networks too. And that's how you continue to expand. Give them referrals, give them a finder's fee, whatever you do. If you have staff now, reward your current staff. You don't have to like go find somebody to reward, just reward who you have now because they're out and about in the communities all the time.
Mhm.
And then of course, further dividing some of these things, like how are you going to pay sales commissions? Because if you do put a salesperson in place, you got to make sure you incentivize them properly to where it's worth their time, and they want to do more for you, and they want to sell more, because that means their paycheck just continuously gets bigger. I've seen this so many times in the past where the salesperson is not compensated accordingly. They're just like either at a salary, the commissions are so low, or there's unattainable goals to get them to a salary that they want to make, and that demotivates your salesperson or your sales team very, very quickly. So you want to make sure that when you're bringing somebody in and you're tying them to the growth of your business, you treat them as a partner and you incentivize them for that growth that they're doing, in a
Yeah.
way that you can afford to do it, right?
Yeah, don't get too crazy, but I mean, sales people need to be incentivized to sell, because why would you sell anything if you made the same amount of money whether you sold it or not?
Yeah, for sure, for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
All right. So once you hire a salesperson, like how do you start them? Right? Like where do you start with them? Like say, okay, I made the decision, I'm hiring a salesperson for the season. What does my onboarding experience look like for the salesperson? And so this is basically what I would suggest. Like first, just have them do standard admin tasks that you do in sales, whether that's like, where you go enter all your leads in, your qualification process, like how you're documenting things. Just have them do standard lead or admin tasks, and then start having them do lead follow-up. Like, I've got all these people in the pipeline, can you start working them, can you start doing follow-ups on these leads, qualifying them a little bit more, setting them appointments to do discovery calls, and then after they learn how to talk about your business, what separates you apart from the conversation, where to put all this information that you're having them go collect, for the sales process, then you can start have them prospecting, go put more leads in the funnel, right? But in order to prospect well, they have to know all these other things first. So, and then after prospecting, once they get through that phase, then they can do more of a full account ownership from start to finish. But that's kind of like my recommended order on how to onboard a salesperson. And then that would, get them up to speed a lot faster. So you're not like circling back because they're missing things or they're working the wrong types of prospects, in other words. Make
Yeah,
sense?
you're gonna really want to know your like some people would call them KPIs. Just know what you guys as a studio are good at. Like I know my studio sucks for anything less than 100 kids. Some travel team calls us, we're terrible. Like don't hire us. But we're really great if you have 500 kids. And so like make sure that your salesperson understands, especially if they're not from the industry, they need to understand what you're looking for so that they could accurately get you good prospects.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. This is my favorite slide.
Oh yeah, photo day.
We have so much. So how does PhotoDay support the growth, right? In the beginning of PhotoDay, I mean, I've been in this industry a really long time. I've sold all kinds of processes, all different ways to all different types of orgs and schools in the past. So this was pretty much like the most fun for me. Like, and I only got to do it a little bit in the very, very beginning when we were trying to do proof of concept with PhotoDay when we released PhotoDay for the first time, was convincing leagues or schools to use PhotoDay, right? To use a photographer who uses PhotoDay. And this is the most fun thing for me, because every time you add something new to your process, to your studio, a new product to sell, it unleashes so much inspiration and motivation to go, like, get excited about it, and then you have something new and different to talk about. It's very motivating, it's very inspirational, especially if you've been doing the same thing the same way for a lot of years, right? So I like to say, use PhotoDay as that tool. Use it as like a breakthrough. Like, what does PhotoDay do different? What does it allow you to do differently than your previous process? And a good example of this, Nick, I think you said, like, yeah, because you can do multiple poses. I can sell more than just one photo, right? That's
Well,
like a,
yeah, we still have 70% of this photographers we go up against are still given one pose, which sucks.
yeah, well, I mean, and that's a great advantage. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, when you're pitching for the first time and you reach out and you're marketing, you're just like, yeah, my studio offers multiple poses. And not only do you offer multiple poses, you connect with parents with PhotoDay through text, right? It's like, imagine a picture day where there's no paper forms flying everywhere. Your team moms aren't handing out packets of envelopes. Like, we're not bothering you to like send out all this stuff. Just hire us to come out to the ball field. Everyone text, access code, the 90738, and I text them when they're ready, and then they buy it. It goes right to their door. That's a sales pitch within itself. They're like, whoa, that happens? Like, I don't have to do
Well,
anything. Coaches hate doing the work.
yeah, coaches
So,
don't want to do the work. The photos, if you're doing like a old school bulk delivery, there's always some like assistant coach that has all the orders in the back of his truck and the team never gets them. And so there's a bunch of stuff like that. But the good thing with Photo Day is that you guys are continually rolling out updates. And so every time Photo Day gives an update on those monthly updates, you should be looking for what you can either tell your prospects or as who you're trying to retain as just a touch base point. You can say, hey, by the way, school, we had a great photo day. I just wanted to let you know next year we will now have the ability for schools, for kids to pick their own yearbook posts. Oh, cool. Why? Oh, that feature just came out. Oh, yeah, the tech team, they got on it. We really wanted to make sure kids had the ultimate choice for this. That you feel agency over their pictures and they got to pick the best one that they liked. And so that, every time there's a photo day release, look for the next selling point for your leagues.
yeah, I like too that it's a, like, one of the key selling points, I think, is like it's a truly mobile experience, and people can order what they want when they want and whatever they want. Like, they can order, just a few images, they can order all the images, like, depending on how your packages and your products are set up. And they don't have to order on that Saturday morning in a prepay envelope and shove some cash in there when they might have not got paid yet. They can order
Mhm.
next week, when the paycheck comes in. Like, you're not pressuring everyone to have their 20, 30, $40 in the envelope on picture day, and you're giving them a little bit of time, and you're designing incentives around that. So yes, it goes into, it's a whole nother webinar on photo day marketing. But as far as like the pitch right up front, use it as a tool to gain more leads, because it does so many things that are unique and different to like what other workflows are out there, that just allow you to operate at greater efficiency. Like, you're in and out faster, you have less data problems. And I think, like, one of the other key selling points I really like right now, especially in the world that we live in, is that Photo Day is SOC 2 type 2 compliant. We have gone through like the strictest, most rigorous like auditing of our platform for image data protection all the way around. So, I mean, that is an added benefit, especially when you're marketing to schools, that the platform that you're using is that SOC 2 type 2 compliance, because that is a huge, that's a huge deal right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's one of those ideas of people are like, oh, I can host it myself. Be like, God, no, don't do that. Like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
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 individual companies are not SOC 2 compliant.
Yeah, it's very expensive. Ask me how I know. So, okay, so 30-day action plan from here, right? So, one, obviously, like audit your pipeline. What does it look like now? How can you improve it, like based on the information we shared today? And then create a follow-up system. Week 2. So if you want to get ready and you want to get started here, like this is what I recommend. What can you work on this week? What do you work on next week? You do a little bit each week. Don't overwhelm yourself all at once because you'll never do it. Trust me on this. Like if you try to do everything all at the same time, it's never. So just break it into stages for you. And set those goals and say like, I'm going to go in to this fall, with this summer, and I'm going to book some more accounts. And this is what I have now. And this is what I want to improve. And whatever process you put together, you're going to be able to continue to tweak that as time goes on. So it's not a one size fits all. It's not a one and done thing here. It's just a matter of like how you get started. What do you do first in defining that process?
Yeah. And don't be afraid to dream a little bit. Okay. Like set some big goals, kind of thing, because once you make a process, then those goals actually become attainable.
Yeah. And if it's just you, this is my favorite thing to do. I'm gonna tell you guys my secret is I think of what I want to do for the house. I'm like, I want to remodel my kitchen. It's going to cost like a boatload of money. I got to go sell this amount of things so I can make this amount of money to remodel my kitchen. So like set a financial goal. If you want to go on a vacation, if you want to, what are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to earn? Like give yourself a motivator to start this whole process. Like, what is your goal to studio? Like, and then work backwards from there for sure. So these are some key takeaways. Predictable revenue comes from the process. Systems reduce your burnout. Sales is a repeatable skill. Follow up on all your wins, and then make sure you're measuring your metrics. And then obviously any kind of growth requires structure. So I want to skip ahead to a couple fun events that are happening because we are just about at time to go over these things. Nick, are you coming to Florida in December?
You know what? I might. I didn't even think about it. But yeah,
it's a great
maybe.
time to visit Tampa.
I will tell you right now, this is the selling point for the workshop. Every time I have flown to Florida for Photo Day, I flew out when it was 40 degrees and raining in California. Okay, so everybody thinks California's got great weather. Every time I've gone to Florida, it ends up being terrible weather in California. I'm always happy I got.
Yeah, so we got Boat Ride Boot Camp hosted by the Boat Rights coming up in December. That's a Friday to Sunday. And it is beautiful weather here in Tampa in December. It's typically very dry. It can be anywhere from 60 to 75-ish degrees, maybe low 80s, but it's beautiful and sunny. So it's a perfect time to come before the holidays, get in the thick of it and set some goals and improve your improve photography skills, your systems, all that stuff. And the best reason to come to boot camp, you don't have to go to boot camp to come to this, so I'll say this, is because we are hosting Photo Day Creates here in Tampa as well. It's going to start that Sunday evening and run through the 8th of December, where we'll have multiple presenters and educators and teach you all sort of things about running your business. And obviously about Photo Day and about all these things to achieve your goals, achieve your dreams, do it all great, improve your current workflows and processes. But we're really excited about Photo Day Creates. We haven't done one of these in a while, and we're piggybacking on. And the best part, I cannot give away all the fun things, but the team has been planning all the fun activities and networking that is going into Photo Day Creates. I will give you a spoiler. Our entire team will be here on the last day of Photo Day Creates. So engineers, our product team, our bubble team, like everyone is going to be here to meet. So you get to meet all of Photo Day. We are all here. And also the other exciting thing is that the reason we're hosting it in Tampa is that we now have a satellite office in Tampa. So we're in the process of getting that all set up now. We'll probably be having some sort of open house this summer, but if you guys are ever in Tampa, feel free to stop by. We also have our Winter Park office still, which is outside of Orlando, but we'll also have a Tampa office as well. So always come to visit us if you are in the area. But yeah, so we're really excited about that. Thank you guys for tuning in today. If you're new to PhotoDay and you want to know about our pricing at all, oh, I forgot, Mel, because she threw the little find out more for PhotoDay creates up on the screen. So you can click that link and go ahead and put your information in there if you want to be the first to find out when you can book your seat. All right, so this is PhotoDay's fees. If you don't know them already, we're really transparent about our fees. We don't have a bunch of add-on fees or anything like this. This is what you see is what you get. We're a 10% transaction fee on the total. That's PhotoDay's money. And then there's a credit card processing fee on every single order. Customers can combine orders if they're in the same job. So you're only paying that one time. We pay your lab bill for you. We collect and remit sales tax in all the states, thanks to marketplace facilitator laws. But we take care of all the sales tax as well. And then you get everything here. There are no, like, our workflow is free, like our capture app is included. The 90738 short code text marketing is included, all of our email marketing. Everything is included. We don't charge extra for digital downloads. We don't have extra storage fees. We don't charge for our education, anything like that. It is all included in PhotoDay and that 10%. So we're very transparent upfront about our fees. There's no like things that happen on the back end behind that. We do have volume discounts available as well if you're a high volume studio. So you think it's worth it, Nick? You think it's worth it?
100%. 100%. I was going to say that one of the best things is the PhotoDay Facebook group, because there is like no, like the thing about PhotoDay is there's no gatekeeping. Everybody's open. Everybody will tell you what they're doing. Like it's a very, very good community.
Oh, thank you. We worked really hard to build our community. So, but thanks guys for tuning in. It was really great to chat with you, Nick. Thanks for joining today and adding all your insights. It was fun. You can scan that QR code, guys, if you want to have an onboarding call with somebody, or you just want to review your account. You can email us anytime or reach out to the chat bubble once you're logged in and request a call back, or just chat with us in the bubble. So we're all around. Just feel free to reach out anytime. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope to see you in December in person, if not sooner. So exciting times. Happy selling.
Bye, everyone.